Whether you have a diagnosis or not, I don't care. Jump inside this podcast and I'm going to teach you how to read your own blood work so you can find the answers to your health concerns. Yes, those normal labs that your doctor keeps saying, oh, they look great, we'll see you again in 6 months. They really have answers in them if you know how to read it correctly. So come join me along this journey, leave a review, and share with your friends. Let's dive in. What health coaching certification program do I recommend? I get this question asked all the time. Well, I've finally vetted them out, and the one program that outshines all others is Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, or FDN. There are 3 reasons why. 1, it's very clinically based and teaches labs. I myself turned down a master's degree in functional medicine because it didn't teach labs. 2, you have lifetime access and it always gets updated. This is important because things change and you need to be in the know. 3, when you complete the training on your timeline, they have an incredible post-grad community. So they don't just kick you out on the streets and say, good luck. If you've been thinking about receiving your health coaching certification or are a practitioner looking to branch out and scale a virtual practice, now is the time. Make 2023 your year. Do this for you, your family, and those you're about to help. Go to fdntraining.com/Dr. Kylie. Check the show notes for a $250 off code available for a limited time. I am happy to announce that I have partnered with Functional Diagnostic Nutrition because I love their program so much. They are now the podcast sponsor. All right, let's get into the podcast episode. Here we go. Welcome to Beyond the Diagnosis with your host, Dr. Kylie. It is the last episode that I am going to publish for the year. I want to say a very huge thank you for all of you listeners. If you've been with me from the beginning, you never know what happens when you get something started. And if you're new, welcome aboard. There's over 200 episodes to go back and go through. So just because they're not publishing anything new for the rest of the year doesn't mean that there's not a whole lot of gold content already sitting on here. If you go back and listen to these episodes, or if you haven't listened to the episodes, I hope you would have learned a couple things. 1, I hope you have learned that your blood work, even if you've been told it's normal, is still worth the price of gold if you know how to read it correctly. And I hope you know how to read more about your blood work than, let's just say, a lot of other people, even if they're highly trained. If you would love to get more information on the blood work, go grab my book on Amazon called Why Are My Labs Normal? That has everything compiled into one place. And then we've also got a brand new patient training for you. If you go to bloodworkspecialist.com, you'll find it. Okay. So the first thing I wanted you to learn was blood work and how valuable it really is and can be. The second thing I wanted you to learn inside this podcast is that in order to heal, we need to stop looking and searching for a diagnosis. When we get a diagnosis, it's just a freaking name. It's a name that clumps our symptoms together. And if we don't have a symptom clump underneath an umbrella, then we're not going to get a diagnosis. So don't look for a diagnosis and don't treat symptoms either. I know it's so backwards compared to what we're told to, but think about it. I get asked all the time, what causes POTS? What causes migraines? What causes this? What causes that? There's no one-size-fits-all cause. If you were to Google what causes chronic fatigue, what prevents weight loss, what are your answers going to be? Trillions of possibilities, literally. So, listening to these episodes, I hope you've understood that I'm a big fan of healing beyond the diagnosis. I'm a big fan of reading your blood work and using it to figure out what you need to go from unhealthy to healthy. That is a true healing journey. That can take some time, but you didn't get to where you were overnight either. So healing isn't going to take overnight either.
And I think the other biggest piece of the puzzle I wanted you to learn on this podcast so far, we're going to resume again in 2024. So don't worry, it's not over. I'm just taking a break, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But I wanted you to understand that the more I got into patient care, the more I got into this world of functional medicine, the more I realized physical healing is just one piece of it. You need to heal emotionally. You need to heal mentally. You need to heal spiritually. You need to go back in the past and heal from crap in your subconscious that you don't even know exists. I wouldn't have believed it either, but I've had to do it myself on stuff I didn't even know existed. You know, we think about trauma and we think about like big T trauma. We don't think about all of these subconscious lessons that we learned and things that we were taught that we have to then go unlearn and learn differently. I know I didn't. So if you've done all the things physically right, you've looked at your labs, you've done all the stuff, start looking at mental, emotional, and then your environmental factors. I've worked with thousands of people and read thousands of labs. And if somebody doesn't get better at all, I know that they have one, emotional trauma that they're unwilling to approach or heal from, and two, environmental factors. So do the physical, but don't forget that's just one piece of the puzzle. All right. If you learned something new, jump on your favorite podcast listening app, wherever you're listening to this right now, and leave a review. I would love to hear your story about how this podcast has impacted you. Now, I began this podcast back in July of 2020, so nearly 3 years ago. I had never listened to a podcast episode before, ever. I just said, you know what? I want to create this. Let's do it and see what happens. When we were doing once a week, and then I can't remember, but I like to record podcast episodes in batches. And there was like a month where I had so many podcast episodes, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get rid of, we gotta start turning out 2 a week. And then there was a point where we had to actually combine 2 episodes into one because I had so many interviews done. Well, I'm a little burnt out. So I'm going to practice what I preach and take a break. I wanted to be the person who hosts the podcast that everybody knows, and it's got like 500 episodes in, but it's time for me to take a break. So I'm going to do that. I'll be back in 2024, but I want to tell you a huge thank you. You've learned about not only things in regards to your health, but you learned about me as a person. You know, I'm this redheaded 33-year-old, soon to be 34 in September, that just wants to help people and wants freedom in my life. And if someone's going to tell me that I can't do something, I'm going to do it and take pictures to show you I can. Have that kind of mentality. I don't care if it's a diagnosis you received. I don't care if it's something that you're still searching for. If you have a mentality that you can overcome it, and then you're willing to put in the effort and the work, and that might include putting your money where your mouth is and investing in the right programs for you, because you're going to get better results when you go start investing. The higher investments are usually the better results. Do it. Make this the year. We only got one life. You're only living this time of your life one time. One time I heard the phrase, you only have 18 summers with your kids. That was all I needed to know. That's all I needed to hear. I only have 18 summers with my kids. You better believe I'm going to make the best of every moment of it. So I'm taking a break, not only because I'm burnt out, but I also got baby number, technically 4, rolling in the tank. Number 2 is joining us up from heaven. Easton is now 6 years old. Hallie is now 3 years old. And little Addison is between those two. She's joining us from heaven. And then this one is a little girl. I don't know her name yet. So she's going to come in the very end of August. I'm going to narrow down what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop because I don't stop. But I will narrow down what I'm doing so I can only focus on a few things at a time. And we'll be back with the podcast at some point in 2024. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for the kind words and the reviews. Thank you so much for sharing this with your friends. Thank you so much for just allowing me to be me and to joining me on this journey. Because when we started in 2020, I'm doing something very different now, 2023. I'm helping practitioners, colleagues, which I absolutely love. And I'm starting to bring back patient care too. So go to bloodworkspecialist.com, find out what's new there, and come join me. I'd be honored to have you. Again, thanks for listening. Share this podcast with your friends. There's still 200 plus more episodes to go back through and review. They're all good, otherwise I wouldn't have published them. There have been some that have not been published. But it's all because I have a passion. I have a dream. I know you have a passion. You have a dream. If I can chase mine, you can chase yours and make it a reality. See you on the next time in 2024 as a new mom of 3.
The health coaching certification program that I recommend is Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, or FDN. You can get started anytime. So grab the $250 off code from the show notes and go to fdntraining.com/Dr. Kylie and get started. Don't wait any longer. Make 2023 your year. Do this for you, your family, and for those you're about to help. fdntraining.com/Dr. Kylie. Ready to have all of your blood work compiled in one location where you can easily read it all together? Well, go grab my book, Why Are My Labs Normal, on Amazon. Grab it, learn how to read your own labs, and take the power back in your hands because your normal blood work is loaded with answers. You just got to have the right person reading it, and the right person can be you. Go grab it on Amazon, Why Are My Labs Normal by Dr. Kylie Burton. Leave a review, and we'll see you on the next episode.